The number of rhino killed in South Africa has dropped from around 500 deaths in 2023 to 420 last year. Well, that's according to the statistics presented by the Environment Minister, Dr. Dion. The department says that this is an achievement, though much more still needs to be done. However, with all the efforts taken by the department and the community organizations, there's a new trend that is growing where poaching syndicates have adapted by targeting dehorned rhino. So this has been a huge concern for everyone, especially for, the government, the community organizations, SanParks, as well as KZN Ezemvelo Wildlife. Let's talk a bit about this now with the head of conservation operations at Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife, Vuyiswa Radebe. Sis Vuyiswa, thank you very much for joining us. I must apologize if I do interrupt you. There is a breaking news story that we're waiting for at the moment. I will ask you to please pause if that does happen. Please do not get angry with me if I do that, but we certainly will continue with the conversation. But this is good news. I mean, let's start there. If we're looking at the number of rhino that are being poached, there's been a decline in that. Talk to us first about that success and what we can attribute that to.
Thank you so much, Crisalda, and thank you as well, and good morning to our listeners. What a privilege to be at this platform. There are a lot of interventions that Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife embarked on when we realized that we are being hit hard as a province. And that included collaboration with institutions that have been in the game for quite a long time, like Kruger National Park, our law enforcement teams, as well as getting K9 on site, because there was also a lack in terms of our enforcement in the area, as well as the smart fences that we've put up, linking up with DFF in terms of the fusion center and sharing of information. So there's been a lot of collaboration in that factor.
Very important. Sis Vuyiswa Radebe, who is the head of conservation operations at Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife. Thank you so much for your patience. We're always trying to go in between different live events. Thank you for your patience, Sis Vuyiswa. I was talking about the good news. Let's start there. I mean, this is great that we have, a decline in the number of rhino that have been killed. Let's talk about, what has led to this success. But we have another problem, though. We'll speak about that after the success.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you for making me see those highlights as well, because I would have missed it if it went for the technology in front of me. Thank you for those visuals. Okay, yeah. Back to the subject. I think like I said earlier, there are a lot of interventions that we decided to bring on board. But what led to the success was the dehorning program that was initiated last year, and thank you to WWF-SA for funding the project, because we saw a decrease in the numbers that have been poached in the province. We started to see numbers in the region of the singular figures, which was very strange for the province. And between that time in May, when we started with the dehorning program in April, we're starting to see like 7, 8, 15, which was very, very less than what we had thought of. So this really was a deterrence for us as a province. Until then, we were hit again in October when the numbers started to go up.
Yeah, we've got a whole new problem now. We hear that there's now a new trend of dehorning the rhino, dehorning rhinos. Let me just take a look at the statement that you put out here. Poaching syndicates adapting their tactics and beginning to target dehorned rhinos, leading to a sudden spike in poaching incidents in Hluhluwe, that's Imfolozi Park. In a specific month alone, there were 27 rhinos that had been lost. Talk to us a bit about this. I'm trying to imagine the dehorning of the rhino. Is it the actual, I don't know what you would call it, please educate me there. The rhino would be dehorned, but there is something that the poachers are looking for a bit deeper inside. Just talk to us a bit about that. Excuse my ignorance on some of these aspects.
I think you've come to the right place. It's like when you cut your nails, you make sure that you don't go to the depth of your nail. You always leave a space for your nail to breathe. So it's the same with the rhinos. So with the growth plate, when we were dehorning the animals, we made sure that during the dehorning process, we don't go down to the growth plate, because we were leaving about 3 to 4 centimeters just below the horn, so that we can give the time for the recovery as well, and making sure that we don't touch the growth plate, because it may lead to bleeding for the animal, like it happens in all human beings as well when you cut your nail too deep. So the stump that we left, we didn't realize that the game is changing very quickly, because around October, when we thought we've got this under control, the illegal poachers came up with a new tactic that says we are going to go for the stump that you left behind. So that was a wake-up call for us as well as an organization to say, we thought we were leaving it for the safety of the animal, for the well-being of the animal, but then the attack changed and it started to attack the dehorned rhinos. And I think it's more because it became economically attractive, though we don't have information to that effect. All we know is that the 15% that we had left behind for the rhino horn, for it to grow, the market suddenly opened for the stump, because there were more now reliance on the weight of the horn, which was more weight than the normal horn, because it's right at the base of the horn of the animal. And the smuggling as well became very easier, because they could cut it into small blocks, and they would even put resin over, and then they'll be able to smuggle it. Those are the little things that we're getting at the border gates when they're trying to transport these stumps. That majority of these stumps have been cut into cubes, and they are easier for them to smuggle. So that is why we don't need to rest when we are working with the rhino poaching incidences, because they are always thinking, as much as we are thinking technology, thinking drones, they are also thinking, how else can we get in? So that is the current challenge that we have.
Yeah, you also had the Ezemvelo integrity implementation plan, and I think that's quite important, because, I guess, some syndicates cannot operate if we don't have, people that we're going to work with. I would say it's very much like a cash and transit heist. If you want a heist to be successful, you have to have an informant inside where you want to operate. Talk to us a bit about that integrity plan, the strategy, implementation of it, and how much results that's actually yielded. I understand, I think there was about 55 of your employees or managers that completed polygraphing, and I think about 58 field workers. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Crisalda. I think the organization took a stance when we learned from Kruger as well, in terms of how they have been doing their things. And then we said, you know what, we need to have a strategy that is going to guide us in terms of securing the populations that we currently have. And we came up with a strategy, which is the KZN Rhino Guardianship Strategy, which is a 10-year strategy. And we've got priorities within the strategy that we are targeting, that we're going to deal with these 9 priorities. So we have started with those 9 priorities. What is more important about the strategy is that we also have the integrity management as well in it, which talks about the polygraphing of our staff. That is where we saw managers being polygraphed, which had to lead, because you can't start with junior staff when managers have not done it as well. So we started with managers, which were led by the CEO and myself, and then we went down to the rangers. So we have tested up just over 100 people in total, between managers as well as the field staff. So in doing that, we are trying to raise the bar in terms of the management of rhinos, to see if there is no information leak, or if the people that we're dealing with, even internally, are the ones that are right to be able to save us when we're trying to save the current populations that we have in the province. Now, with that, we've got results, and currently there are investigations that are happening in the province, because we have received deception. The results, when they came back with the numbers that have decepted. So we have started, and we are working very closely with Kruger National Park in making sure that we follow processes to the latter, because in government that labor relations as well can get us into trouble if we don't follow it to the latter. So we're trying by all means to be aligned, as well as do things according to book. Over and above that, we are collaborating. We've got NGOs that are dedicated to work with us nationally and internationally, which is also part of the strategy that we're working with when we're trying to save these rhinos.
Right, Sis Vuyiswa, thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time. Thank you for making time to speak to us here on SABC News. The head of conservation operations at Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife, Vuyiswa Radebe. While you have the number of rhino being killed, that decreasing, what we're seeing now to be the target is the dehorned rhino. That is what we're told those within the space are looking out to now.